Hi, I'm Dee Dee Baswell-Bond at the Hartsville Atlanta Airport in my home state of Georgia, reporting for the Armstrong-Williams Show. When I cast my first vote over 30 years ago, this state was solidly red. In presidential races, Georgia has given its electoral college vote to the Republican candidate all but 5 times since 1964. With legal and illegal immigration and the great reverse migration of African Americans from the north to the south, Georgia has become a true battleground state. To ensure that the battleground is fair, the state has invested in training election officials like Sharita Trice, who oversees the elections in Tarleton, Georgia.
This is the equipment room where to access the equipment room, you have to use a special code that only me and my staff have. This is the scanner that we call a ballot box. In this black case is a printer. It's a regular HP printer. And here is the BMD, that stands for ballot marking device. It is used when you make your vote on election day. This is the tabulation room. This is where we count the absentee by mail ballots on election night.
The new rules and increased scrutiny require that election staff are trained and Georgia residents are informed.
People are being educated in Talbot County through our website that we use and also through the newspaper. And also I do training, in-office training to my election staff.
Georgians are hopeful that the results will be known on November 8th. But with this midterm expected to yield a record number of mail-in ballots and high voter turnout, we all may be holding our breath.
According to our new system, the results will be accurate and they should be in a timely manner.
Hopefully Georgians will know in 24 hours.
So I'm with Dr. Carson, Attorney Crump. We have a new book out, Crisis in the Classroom. Attorney Crump, why is this book so important?
Because our children right now deserve more than ever a quality education. And without a quality education, they're already in prison. They just haven't slammed the cell door. And that's why we have to deal with this crisis.
Dr. Carson?
Recognize that in the United States of America, we have about 330 million people. China and India have 3 to 4 times as many people. We have to compete with them in the future. That means we can't afford to throw away any of our kids. We have got to concentrate on evaluating and helping all of them to measure up.
While speaking with the voters, we asked, what are some things you are hoping to get out of your elected officials? Boy, did we get some diverse answers.
Personally, I have never looked to elected officials for anything. But if there were anything that I would like to see elected officials do is cater more for the needs of the people that are suffering on the streets in Georgia. There is so much homelessness here in Georgia that it is beyond the point of atrociousness, and it is deplorable.
More of the higher echelon gets the breaks than people that's on the street. And so, for instance, right behind this plaza right here, there's a homeless community, Tent City, right across the street from the church. Now, I walked by this church one morning, and I spoke to 2 ushers, and they tooted their nose up. I said, God is good, though, anyway. You know what I'm saying? Now, you see them tents across the street, you see the homeless, that's how close you are to being homeless. You know what I'm saying? So, don't you toot your nose up. You know what I'm saying? Be glad that you are, you know what I'm saying, still in a position where, you know what I'm saying, you can help somebody instead of tooting your nose up. And they looked at me, and I walked away, and then they called me again back and said, man, that was powerful what you said. That's just true. And I said, well, it's evident, so.
What are the things that you will be concerned about as you go into midterm voting?
Inflation, just seeing price increases, and also seeing the supply chain just being difficult. I haven't, on the national level, I haven't seen anything being done to tame inflation.
Well, I think the big issues here now in our school is, first of all, is the violence that's going on around our community now. We've had homes shot up. We've had students that are shooting at other students from other schools. So the violence in schools now is one of my utmost concerns. Matter of fact, this last week we've been on soft lockdown in this school right here due to people shooting into homes at night. So we just don't let our kids go outside of the building right now. I think what I want from our representatives, especially our state senators, you know, we need to focus on what's good for Georgia, not what's going on all over. I know that they have, you know, responsibility to vote in national stuff, but when they're worried about this, they're worried about that, yet I've got children here that haven't been in school for a couple of years because of the lockdowns and things. What I need everybody to come together, and I need them to worry about what's going on here. I don't need folks worrying about just what's going on in Washington or Colorado or stuff like that. I need somebody that cares about us here and what's happening with this school system and this community.
These Georgia voters are very passionate. Stay tuned, there's more to come.
Hey, honey. We thought we'd try something new.
Family art hour. What do you think?
You got jokes. You're funny.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Learn more at adoptuskids.org.
So yes, it's almost election time, and we'll all be going to the polls. And when I go to the polls, I'll be looking for a leader that's going to support schools and rural communities.
So my top issue for me would be abortion. I am pro-choice. Next would be expanding Medicaid. I do have a daughter that is special needs, and the decrease in funding here in Georgia has affected her. And then the next thing would be access to voting, so that all Georgians, not just some, all Georgians have the right to vote. But I will say that even though inflation is a top issue, I still think that the number one issue here in Georgia is still going to be about abortion. So I think people will be thinking about inflation, don't get me wrong, but I do think that right now the main item on the ballot will be about pro-choice.
I would say that we work a lot harder than everyone thinks. I know you hear that a lot, but it turns out that we do. I'm actually a first-year teacher, and I didn't even realize how much. I'm still staying here late at night. I'm staying here until 7 o'clock doing all this work and making sure my lessons are ready and prepped. And it's just a lot goes behind it, and we never get the credit for it. We never get the attention or the money or any of the perks for staying and helping these students and letting them learn and helping them teaching them.
The things that top of the residents struggle most is jobs, housing, and industry. There's no jobs here. There's no grocery store near. The pharmacy is only open 2 days a week. It needs to be open every day. That's one of the main issues.
I guess, well, one thing that's important to me is funding for Medicaid. I have a child with special needs, and we could use more of that. And I have concerns about voting rights and making sure that everyone gets the opportunity, fair opportunity to vote, and the abortion issue. I am pro-choice and feel like women need that.
I would like our elected officials to stop sending money to other countries and focus on what's important here in the United States. We're spending, people can't afford food. People are going to the grocery store and they're not able to buy food for their kids right now, or gas. And I just, it's unsustainable sending all this money overseas and printing more and more money. So I would ask our elected officials to stand up for America first at this point.
The polls have fluctuated, but as you can see, Georgia voters are resolute and passionate about the issues that matter to them. Of all the polls that have taken place in the last year, the one that counts is the one that takes place in the next 24 hours.